Welcome to Budget Beauty, where I help you look flawless for less. Welcome back, and a very special welcome if you're new here. My name is Jen, and this is Budget Beauty. We do everything beauty on a budget, and that includes testing new eyeshadow palettes. I'm actually really excited for today's palette. I have heard mixed reviews. Some people say it's amazing, some people say it's not so amazing, and we're gonna test it out for ourselves. We're going to do a full eye tutorial, first impression and review of the new Anastasia Beverly Hills, or ABH, Fall Romance palette. Now, this was released for fall 2023. The color story of this is actually really beautiful and definitely screams fall. It is the traditional ABH velvet packaging. I actually really like this eggplant purple color, and I love that this color story is fall with a twist. So we have some purples in here. We have the quintessential oranges, browns, greens, taupes of fall. I also really like that there's some texture in this palette. We have mattes with sparkle, and then we have shimmery, sparkly shades. Now, I will tell you, when I swatched this palette, I was pretty impressed with the swatches. A couple of the mattes were a little bit hard to swatch. The green shade Thorns and the brownie shade called Twilight. Those I had to build up a little bit in swatches, but we know swatches don't tell the whole story, and sometimes a palette can swatch really terribly and apply beautifully to the eyes, or vice versa. So I'm excited to see what type of look we get for this, if we're getting any patchiness, if we're able to build it up and layer it. Anastasia Beverly Hills ABH isn't my favorite eyeshadow formula, but I will say that out of all the palettes I've tried, I feel like this one, swatch-wise, payoff, opacity, shimmery, sparkly, was one of the best that I've swatched. So I am really excited to apply this to my eyes. Now, this palette does retail for $55. I will link it down below for you. And if you're excited, give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, turn your bell on, because I upload lots and lots of new videos, and I do a lot of tutorials, first impressions. I have declutters coming, rankings coming, so definitely make sure you're subscribed. Again, I will link the Fall Romance palette down below, along with all of my favorite beauty subscription boxes, all of the other makeup that I'm wearing in today's video, if you would like to recreate this look. And come follow me over on TikTok for a little bit more beauty on a budget. So let me zoom you in up close and personal, and let's test ABH's Fall Romance palette. As always, the first thing I'm going to do is apply my eyeshadow primer, the MAC Paint Pot in Painterly. This is what I use every time I do an eye look. I love an eyeshadow primer. It keeps my shadows in place, prevents my shimmers from creasing. It's just something I use every day. So as far as my look goes today, I really want to focus. I want to use as many of the shades in the palette as possible. Of course, I want to give you an honest review of a lot of the different mattes, the mattes with sparkles, and the shimmer shades. And I also want to do a really pretty fall inspired look. So I'm going to start with this shade down in the corner called Leather. This is kind of a brown shade, tan shade with a green base. It's actually a really interesting kind of grungy shade, especially for a mainstream makeup brand. So picking that up on a fluffy brush, I'm going to apply that in my crease as my transition shade. Ooh, that's a really interesting shade. Can you see that? It's definitely more opaque than I expected by looking at it in the pan and even the swatches. And it definitely is leaning even a little bit more brown with a purple base. It's an interesting color. It's a color I don't have in my collection, which kind of says a lot because I have over 200 eyeshadow palettes. It's very unique. I really like it. And that was one tap in, and it applied beautifully. I really like this color. It is so interesting. Just a very unique color. Next, I'm going to pick up the shade Thorns on a fluffy brush, and I'm going to really just focus that on the crease itself. This is one of the shades that didn't swatch the best. I really had to go back in and build it up, but I am going to tap, and then again, just focus on the crease. I do want that shade Leather to pop out of the top above my crease a little bit. I do have hooded eyes, so I always bring my shadow above my actual crease. Now applying this shade Thorns, it applied really nicely. That's why I always say that swatches don't always tell the true story. You have to apply it to the eye. And I have no patchiness. I don't need to layer it. One tap in, I have a nice, really pretty forest green. And then I'm going to take a clean, fluffy brush and just kind of blend Leather and Thorn, just so that they're nicely blended together. Now I'm going to pick up the deepest green in the palette called Twilight. This is a little bit more of a olive green. Picking that up on a slanted brush, I'm going to pop that in the outer corner so that I can add some depth and deepen that up. That also is applying really, really nicely. I'm impressed so far with these mattes. That was, again, one tap in, and I have all the depth that I want. And I really like this color. It's a deep, dark green. And then picking up that same fluffy brush clean, and again, just another super quick blend. This is so pretty so far. I really love this. I'm going to use my NYX glitter glue. I use this every time that I apply shimmers. Again, similar to an eye base, it just helps everything stick and stay throughout the day. I just tap that on my lid. I want to bring in some purple. I am going to pop purple on the lower lash line as well. So I'm going to pick up this shimmer shade here called Midnight. Isn't that pretty? It's kind of a deep purple with a black base, leaning a little bit on the deep navy blue. I'm picking that up on a finger. We are going to try the shimmers out with the brush as well, but I'm going to focus this on the outer 2/3 of my lid. Oh yeah, that is stunningly beautiful. Wow, again, one tap in and look at that. Now it's not that wet foiled shimmer that you often get from an indie makeup brand, but I will tell you from a mainstream brand, this is really pretty. So there's that shade Midnight. I love that. This is a very smoky, sultry fall look, and I am here for it. On a pencil brush, I'm going to pick up the shimmer shade Crown, which is this gold leaning, shifty kind of green shimmer shade, and picking that up on a pencil brush, that's going to go on the inner portion of my lid. Wow. And I'm going to pull that into that shimmer shade Midnight. And this is also going to pull in a little bit of the green that we have in our crease and outer corner. That is so pretty. Wow, that is very, very interesting as well. In the pan, it looks much more gold. And then on the eyes, I'm getting gold, but I'm also getting a green, which I love. And that shimmer applied really nicely with the brush. So with this palette, a finger application or brush application both work really nicely. I want to do my lower lash line, and like I said, I want to bring in some purple, so I'm going to use this shade here called Divine. Now this is a shimmer shade, but when I swatched it, it kind of reminded me more of a matte with shimmer. It wasn't really sparkly, but it did have a little bit of shimmer in it, if that makes sense. So I'm going to pick that up on that pencil brush and buff that on my lower lash line. Look how pretty that is. And it just popped in that purple on the lower lash line. I'm going to go back into Midnight, which is that deep shimmer we used on the lid. And I'm going to buff that over the top just to, again, add a little bit more depth and darkness, but still have that purple pop through. I knew immediately my inner corner highlight has to be this light purple shimmer shade called Moonlight. Oh, it's swatched so beautifully. I'm going to pop that on my inner corner. Oh yeah, that is stunning. And that is, again, going to tie in a little bit more purple. This would also be a very beautiful shimmer all over the lid. So there is my completed look. We used quite a few of the shades in the palette. Let me go ahead and do a liner, mascara. I may pop on some lashes, and I'll be back to share with you my thoughts on the ABH Fall Romance. So here's the completed look with the Anastasia Beverly Hills or the ABH Fall Romance palette. Let me just tell you, I love my look. It is fall. Grungy, it's smoky, and honestly, I'm quite impressed with this palette. Like I said, I don't love this brand. I don't love their eyeshadow formula, but I will say of all the palettes I've tried, this one's my favorite. And this one is one that I can see myself reaching for a lot for multiple reasons. I love the color story, but what I really love about this palette is there's different textures and formulas. We have mattes that are beautiful. We have mattes with sparkle that are also beautiful, especially that purple one that I popped on my lower lash line. That is so beautiful. And then I like even that the shimmers in this palette have different textures and they look different on the eyes. Our shade Midnight wasn't super sparkly, just a little bit. And then we popped this purple on the inner corner and got all the sparkle. And then Crown is this duochrome, shifty, unexpected shade. I'm impressed. I am impressed. And if ABH keeps putting out palettes with this unique of a color story, these different textures, these different formulas, and this good quality, I can see myself picking up many more palettes in the future. If you love this color story, if you love fall vibes, and really you can wear this year round. There's no seasons of eyeshadow. You can wear whatever you want, but this definitely screams fall and winter to me. You could go with a grungy, deep, dark, sultry, smoky look like I did. You could even pull in some of these lighter colors and go with a little bit lighter look, neutral look, colorful look. This is a very, very well-rounded palette. And like I said, in my opinion, the best that ABH has released. And the one palette that I have in my collection, I've decluttered all of my other ABH palettes, but this one is definitely staying. So I will link this down below for you if you're interested in picking it up for yourself. Let me know, do you have this palette? What do you think of my eye look? Let me know everything down below. And don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, turn your bell on, because again, I upload lots and lots of new videos, and I have my big declutter and ranking video coming soon. Down in the description box, you'll also find my favorite beauty boxes, all of the other makeup that I'm wearing today, discounts to my favorite indie brands, and come follow me on TikTok for a little bit more beauty on a budget. 10 out of 10 out of 10, ABH.